committee, thank you for allowing us the opportunity to support this bill. My name is Kevin Addix, and I'm the Executive Director of the Maryland Wineries Association, the nonprofit trade association that represents all of the state's wineries. We support the ability for a winery to be able to ship to a Maryland consumer. Wineries are currently able, Maryland wineries are currently able to ship to 35 states. And in all of those states, they must go through the same process and procedures outlined in this bill. They must obtain a license, they must pay a fee, they must ship their wine through an approved common carrier, they must pay the taxes on those wines, they must label that box as alcohol, and they must pay for the additional service that FedEx and UPS offers to require a 21+ signature. Maryland wineries can currently do this for customers in 35 states, many of whom visit Maryland wineries each month, but unfortunately we cannot do that for our own consumers in our own state. We urge this committee's support for this bill, for Senate Bill 338, which has all the built-in requirements and limits needed to make this a safe and productive bill and allow our wineries to deliver their products legally to consumers of legal drinking age. Thank you.
I'm Ed Boyce from Black Ankle Vineyards in Frederick County. We are one of the newer Maryland wineries. We're unique in that we grow all of our own grapes. We have 42,000 grapevines. That's the biggest planting in the state right now on a 150-acre agriculturally preserved farm. We are also dedicated to putting Maryland on the world wine map for quality wines. And so we have probably the most expensive wines in the state. Our best-selling wine sells for about $40 a bottle. That makes it sort of a special occasion purchase, and for us, spreads out our market. We have customers all over the state, surrounding states. We do ship wine to California, North Carolina, other states around. Unfortunately, at the same time, we only have about 2,000 cases of wine, and there are thousands and thousands of retailers in the state of Maryland. As you can imagine, we're in about somewhere between 1% and 2% of all the outlets in Maryland. I constantly have customers who say, hey, I love that wine, I tried it at your winery. I went to 3 of my local stores and nobody had it, so I bought something from California or something from France or something else. For us to build a market in the structure that we have, this kind of thing would be very, very helpful. And it eventually would lead to new geographies within the state that we could open up to retailers. Right now we're sold in only 6 counties in Maryland. So the residents of the rest of the counties are a long drive from anywhere they can buy our wine. I think also one other thing I want to point out, and I'll be brief in my testimony today, is that we are probably 8, 10, 15 times a week we have customers ask us to ship wine somewhere. I don't know if the committee knows the depth of the misunderstanding out there. Most of those customers are somewhat shocked that they cannot get wine shipped to them across the state, and it would be really nice to be able to tell them something other than, yeah, I'm not sure why that rule is there, but we can't send it to you. So if you want to help this wine industry grow and help preserve jobs in rural areas and create them, and we're a good example of that, I urge you to vote in favor of this legislation.
Station Winery in Cecil County. You probably haven't heard of me before because we don't have a $100 million ad budget, which national brands such as Gallo and Mondavi and Almond do. Typically, when consumers go to a store, they are buying against a nationally advertised brand. So we have to do a lot of work to be able to sell our wines. We are in many stores in the state, and many of our stores are very supportive of local wineries and small cult wineries, and so they actively help sell those wines to consumers. But many stores want to move volume, and volume is moved by large ad budgets, large national brands. And so the consumer typically goes to a store and buys one of these national brands, but also because cult wines or smaller wineries do not move volume, the stores are hesitant to take them on. I have had, since we started selling last May, probably 500 people ask me about us being able to sell wines online. Most of them in-state, some of them out-of-state. I've had Texas, Georgia, etc., but most of them are in-state as well. And they are appalled to hear that there is no such ability, because many of my customers, I live in Montgomery County, my wineries in Cecil County, they live and work around Washington, D.C. They're very familiar with Virginia and D.C.'s laws, and say, gee whiz, we have stuff shipped in there all the time, particularly my colleagues who live down in Virginia. So this law, in my opinion, does not affect the retailers in the state, because the retailers in the state are typically moving the larger national brands, and these are brands that are typically not carried, including my own. In the past, the opposition to this bill has also said that the Maryland wineries do not know what they're getting into by saying that they're in favor of this bill, because the competition will crush us. And I am not at all worried about the competition. Gallo and Almaden and all those guys are not going to use this channel to sell their stuff. They're going to go through the typical two-tier channel. The people that I'm competing with are not folks that I think I'm really in competition with. I mean, for example, Ed next to me here. So I'm not particularly worried about the competition. But besides, competition is good. It makes us all better. And I don't think we need to be protected from competition in order to survive.